For whatever reason, OBS removed my mic, so nobody could hear any of my voice, and I just talked for 5 minutes. That's very awkward. Uh, Welcome everybody. I'm Fireryman. I'm playing in Contender League. I made a video last week, and I've made other content videos, Fiery Side, yada yada. But today we're here to talk about double elimination. Last night, Max made a Discord post and he posted this image, and he said, and I know a lot of people have seen this, double elimination playoffs. Here's something I've come up with. Let me know, give feedback. We're not going to just do it instantly. So here's the image. I'm going to take you through it. I'm going to give you another double elimination proposal some people have, and I also like it as well. First off, I will say Max kind of came to the same conclusion I've done as well when people in the past have been asking for a double elimination, is that BO1s are needed to keep the playoffs going slightly faster. And I will say, first off, I don't like BO1s. I don't think anybody likes best of ones. Everybody likes best of three playoffs. Generally makes the better team generally win. Uh, Nobody likes BO1s, but it's a necessary evil. We're not a tournament that's playing Thursday and then you're going to play more games Friday and then you're going to play Saturday. Pros play two BO3s in a day at TI, for example, or multiple a couple BO2s for the group stage. Like, you're playing 4 to 6 games if you're a pro. And I realize we're not pros, but people in the Discord that are opposed to this idea of having two BO1s in one day, uh, that's 2 games. There, all of us have to have an open Dota buff, and if you're not able to set a time for, in my opinion, I don't know how much hours people are strategizing, but if you're unable to look at a Dota buff and or during that whole entire week not do any research on those other 2 teams, I'm not fully sure about that complaint, because I do look at teams, and at most it generally takes me an hour. Throughout the season, maybe more work is put in, but that second BO1, honestly, you could have also prepared for that. Like, I am positive TI caliber teams or any pro teams or even amateur teams. And I'll also add that I know of amateur tournaments that are just a tournament where they do ask you to play two BO3s where you're only playing for $50. So these, I'm not 100% sure where these complaints about these two BO1s in one day is too hard. Uh, a reminder that if you're in the upper bracket, these BO1s are only for teams that lost. Now, in this example, some teams do start in lower bracket. So the question is the other one, which I'll get back to. I'm jumping fences because I started that video and I had to restart everything. Oh, what a waste. Week 1. If we look at week 1, the top 8 teams hit the upper bracket BO3, bottom 8 teams do a BO3. And what's kind of nice about this, and Max touched on it, is instead of seed 1 versus seed 16, now it's 16 versus 9 and 1 versus 8. So there's more of a chance of those teams at least winning a series, winning a BO3, and they get that BO3. Week 2, you see the teams that won in the upper bracket, they do another best of 3. Then the teams that won in week 1 for the lower and lost in the upper, they play a BO1, and then they play another BO1, presumably, let's say 15-20 minutes after, against the other BO1 winners. Then week 3 happens. The 2 upper bracket winners play, and the guys that lost in week 2, they play week 3 against the winners in the lower bracket of week 2, and they play 2 sets of BO1s. Now, I will say, I slightly disagree. I disagree with this. I don't know how to kind of correct this, and I feel like it should be encouraged that the two teams that win that BO1, if there's a way to make that BO1 earlier or on a different day, and I know that's challenging because Thursday's your guaranteed day, and I know a lot of teams expect that. I've been on teams where I have people all other days just unavailable, where like a house league soccer. I used to play soccer as a kid, and Tuesdays, Thursdays were my day. If I didn't show up on Thursday, I didn't get to play. And that's similar to this league, AD2L, RD2L, any other league. So no, there sometimes can be some shifting of schedules that do happen, and that's really nice. 10 people instead of like 30 people have to reschedule, so it can kind of be doable. But I'd like to see 3-4 actually be a BO3 uh, in the lower bracket. I don't know if that is even feasible. Uh, with people's expectation on Thursday. But if it can be, I definitely think it should be. Week 4, the upper bracket team gets a bye. There's just no match for them to play. Some exceptions would be if week 4, both teams can say, okay, let's play earlier. If they can set a time, then maybe week 5 can be that Thursday and just 1 week instead of that bye. But there's no way. Week 4 to week 5 has to be. If you want to double them, that they have to be on different days. Now, another proposal has been everybody starts in the upper bracket, where you still do 1 to 16, 2 to 15, 3 to 14, yada yada, and then you go into the lower bracket into week 2. So this makes essentially look at this and go to weeks. And week 5 is now week 6. Week 4 is week 5, and week 1 is week 2, and the lower brackets BO1. So then you're playing way more BO1s. Yeah. Some people say, well, maybe week 2 could still be a second BO3, but a lot of people are saying lower bracket should just be a bunch of best of ones. If week 2 and week 3 have to be, week 3 and 4 have to be BO1s. They're saying week 2 should also be a BO1, and I'm sorry if this me saying it is confusing. I do apologize. And what that does by adding that extra week is still those upper bracket teams still get to face the 1 versus 16, and then most likely will face off against the 1 and 8 anyways. But then the bottom bracket isn't as wonky, with lower bracket being more BO1s instead of a BO3 to a BO1, which is weird. But like I said, I do understand that. And the thing is, and now people disagree with me on this opinion, and that's fine. My consolation prize, if you go to that other system where everybody starts at upper bracket, you know what? If you lose and you don't want to play 2 BO1s in one day, and this is the thing, and this is where I'm disagreeing with some people. They say, so your option is we just don't end up playing in the lower bracket because we don't want to do 2 BO1s in a day. First off, like I said, I don't think that should be any issue. The people that have mentioned in the feedback, I just strongly disagree. I cannot get behind your back. The BO1s are in the lower bracket, so you've already lost. So there should be variance. That's the point. Is that you do back-to-back BO1, there's variance, it's a second chance. So if everybody starts in the upper bracket and then you do a bunch of BO1s in lower bracket, if you don't want to do BO1s, you already lost. You don't have to play in the lower bracket. I think it's the best of both worlds. Currently, I would say if you're a team in the lower bracket and you don't want to do BO1s after you win, I'd say max is a concern. Because then, yes, you do have to do 2 BO1s the next week. But if everybody starts in upper bracket and you want to still pretend it's single elimination and you go into lower bracket, instead of going to lower bracket, you just decide to forfeit, I think that's fine. I don't see the issue. I think people are. I think Two BO1s isn't an issue. And I think that's the difference between myself and other people, or not just myself. I actually there's quite a few others that agree with me. 2BO1 sounds exciting. Uh, don't you, a bunch of you, do Battle Cup, for example? Battle Cup is 3BO1s in one day. I've also mentioned other amateur tournaments where they expect multiple BO3s in a day, even amateur ones. So I'm a little confused of I still just don't understand the 2BO1s. But if that is an issue for you, going to a 6-week playoffs where everybody starts an upper and then the losing teams still get that BO1 redemption and then 2BO1s, that's okay. Like, you don't have to play those BO1s. You can still pretend it's single elimination. And I think that is a very good compromise for team captains. If a bunch of captains, and I'm not in that chat, guys, and that if you're, let's say, a seed 11 team, and I do understand to a point that if you don't like something, you don't want it. So that's where, this week 6 proposal kind of works in this sense. You're seed 11, and you don't want to play a BO3 win and then play 2 BO1s in one day. Well, if everybody starts an upper bracket, now you have a choice if you want to do best of ones or not. That seems, in my mind, and I'd love either comments on my YouTube video or a DM me quickly, or we can have a screaming match in AD2L Discord and repeat the same things over and over again. Like, up to you guys. I'm always down to clown. Uh, why not just everybody upper bracket? And if you lose, you can decide if you want to do the best of ones. Now, I know, me personally, and I hope my captain votes this way, and I think the captain vote is good and bad, because generally the captain will kind of get a good idea of what the team wants, but also not all teams think alike, and one could argue it's gerrymandering like the how political system is. Letting so many people draw the state lines, it might not be as even. But I'm okay. I don't think it's that bad, guys. I'm just kind of putting stuff. It just sucks for me that I don't get a say, and this my only say is make a video about it. My say is to my captain, and if my captain doesn't agree, or doesn't care, nothing happens. My voice isn't heard. So this is my way for my voice being heard. This playoffs, very similar to what I did draw these out before. I drew this way out, and I also drew if everybody started upper bracket and just a bunch of BO1s. And then teams, it just adds an extra week that you have to wait for the new season to start, regardless of week 5 or 6. It only adds 1 week. Let's not make this a BO3 lower bracket all the way. I understand a lot of people want that, and I do too. But then you have teams that are out in the first week. Like, if all these were BO3s, you have a team out in the first week that doesn't get to play at all, and now you're doing nothing for even more weeks. For instead of 4-week playoffs, where now you just have to sit around for 3 weeks plus, let's say, a 3 or 4 week off season for 7 weeks, 6-7 weeks. The way of lower, if everything was a best of 3, now you're waiting for 10 instead of 6-7. It just doesn't add up. It's listen, I believe personally, well, I always believe I'm always on a better team, so I'm like, I'll go through. But I also have to look at all teams, in my opinion. And obviously, each division, contender, intermediate, divine, might come up with something slightly different. where one team says, yeah, let's do an extra week of playoffs, everybody upper. And some leagues might say, you know what, 5 weeks is fine. Let's just get it instead of 1 versus 16. Let's just do the 16-9. So that'll be interesting as well. But I guess the biggest difference, and I probably repeated this a million times, is I do not believe 2B01s is a problem. Pros play 6 games in a day. I know people who have signed up on amateur tournaments with the prize pool being as low as AD2L and playing 2B03s in a day. People do Battle Cup, and nobody's complained to me about Battle Cup being potentially 3 BO1s in one day if you win the first 2 matches. Nobody has once complained to me about that. And that's 3 BO1s. So, with all these things added up where there's pros that do it, amateur tournaments over a weekend have done it, Battle Cup, why is 2 BO1 so hard? So I guess that's the big thing. And if you don't want it, let's do the week 6. Let's do a double elimination with 6 weeks where everybody starts in upper. And if you lose, you can choose if you want to do best of ones. And if you don't, then the team that will move on. So if you're seed 9 and let's say you're seed 10, seed 10, we're doing 6 weeks, and you say, I'm done. I don't want to do a best of one. And you know what? That's okay. Because the team you'll face, let's say seed 15 also loses, because most likely seed 15 is going to lose to seed 2. And seed 15 just moves up and gets a bye that week. They wait for week 2. They play 2 BO1s. Or maybe they only get to play 1 BO1 because another team decides to forfeit. But this is a second chance. People wanted a double elimination. We're trying to cut back weeks so people get to play a best of 3. Not a best of 3. To get that, a lot of people... It's kind of funny because I see people say, yeah, I want double elimination like TI where we get to play or TI or these bigger tournaments. And then Max rolls out an idea. And I should briefly mention this. Max and I don't agree on most stuff. If you saw what I was typing earlier on Monday, you can tell we're never on agreeance. But he has good points, and he came to the same conclusion as I, as reasonable people, that we have to cut corners if we're a weekly league, or else teams aren't going to play for a week that are in the playoffs. We're going to have more bye weeks. It's going to be longer, so the teams out in week 1 just sit around and say, well, what do I do now? Now your off season's ridiculously long, 2.5 months. Who wants a 2.5 month off season? Not me. 2 months max. I think that's too long. If you're out on the week 1. So, from this video, if you're a person that says 2 BO1s is still bad, give me write out a paragraph or something and explain to me why 2 BO1s in a lower bracket is so bad, especially if we go to the week 6 model, where then everybody gets a BO3 in upper bracket. Like, please. I am very interested in understanding. Besides, BO1s suck. If you tell me BO1s suck, I just don't care about your opinion. Because I agree with you. And I just don't care. Like you're not worth my time if you just tell me best of ones suck, because I think Max agrees with that. I agree with that. Everybody else that wants a double elimination bracket agrees with that. But we also have a time restraint. So explain to me why 2 BO1s is so terrible, especially in the lower bracket. Especially on top of that, if we switch to the week 6 model where all teams start in the upper bracket, I'll be interested in that toughie. And I'll add, the consolation prize, where you can forfeit those best of ones and the lower bracket. I if you lose in the upper bracket and you're not interested in playing those BO1s, you don't have to. Nobody's actually forcing your team to show up. That's your job to show up. So to forfeit those. I actually don't also see a problem. Now, tell me why that's also an issue if we go to that week 6 model, because you can still treat it as a single elimination with double elimination as a fun thing. My only issue with this is week 3. If the teams can get together, play a BO1 ahead of time, and then play a BO3 for that seed for 4th/3rd, I'd really appreciate that. So yeah, this is my video. Obviously, like I said, biased. I explained the double elimination, I think, well enough, where we have a week 5 option and then the week 6 option where everybody starts an upper bracket. Obviously, I'm all for it. A lot of people want double elimination. If we want it, there has to be some sacrifices. If you're not interested, treat this all like a single elimination. And that's where the week 6 comes in. Just, everybody just do upper bracket. Is that hard? I don't know. Anyways, share your opinions on this video. I said, shoot me lots of stuff. I'm very interested. Maybe make another video. Maybe if your opinion or your argument is actually good, I'd love to, let's make a quick little video about it. I'd love to say, okay, this side thinks this. Like, it has to be a good argument besides best of ones suck. Because I already told you, I agree with you. Max agrees with you. I think everybody in the Dota world agrees with you, but they're necessary evil, especially in a league like this. And, like I said, if we go to the week 6 model, you don't even have to play a BO1. You can treat it like a single elimination, which I think is a pretty good compromise. Anyways, Fireryman out. If you like this video, give it a like. If you're hate watching, give it a dislike. I need a video with more dislikes than likes, so give me 10 dislikes. Thank you. Bye.